This is Megan Healy with BCEagles.com. We're here today with volleyball head coach Chris Campbell. After dropping a 2-set lead to Clemson on Sunday, what are you telling your team to get them back on track for this week?
Fight harder. I think to sum it up in 2 words. No, but seriously, that's we've talked about that. That isn't the first time that's happened, and that's not the first time it's happened in volleyball. A 2-0 lead is not insurmountable. That's why you play to 5, because there's it's not over until you win 3 sets. What was obvious in that is, and the teaching point that comes out of a match like that became the most clear actually in the 5th set. We weren't playing well to start. We were down 10-5 in a set that's only going to 15 points. Had burned 2 timeouts, and coming out of that second timeout down 5-10, the girls just got a little bit more fired up about what they were doing and went on a 7 or 8-1 run to tie it up, and I think we got it up to 12-12, and really had all the momentum, and then Clemson made a great slash lucky play at the end that kind of broke it a bit, but it was really in that run. It wasn't because we started playing some amazing level of volleyball. It was really a mental decision on their part. They started to get a little bit angry and a little bit pissed off, and went after it a bit more. And that is what we talked about after the match, that, man, you're in the ACC. Nobody's going to roll over for you. All of our players, and every player in the ACC comes from great clubs where you're going to win 50% of your matches just by showing up in the gym. That's because you're good players and played for good teams. That's the nature of it. That stops being the case now, and you have to just fight all the time. And I think after an opening set where we played very well and really kind of controlled things, we just have a tendency to let our foot off the gas a little bit, to just be comfortable that we've played well, and we showed that we played well, and then we just kind of coast. And I don't think it's willful on anybody's part. I don't think any of our players are consciously saying, "Oh, well, we're good. We're fine. We don't have to worry about it anymore." But there is a subtle mental relaxing, and we've got to learn to play with what Popovich with the Spurs, I think, has the best quote ever describing this phenomenon. It's playing with appropriate fear, and we have to learn that level. We're not there right now, but the players that we have, especially, we've got this mix of young and old in our lineup, and I think there's some players that are quite close to it, to kind of figuring it out about that sense of urgency that you have to have. It's easy to have a sense of urgency when things aren't going well, that you've got to turn it around, but being able to have that sense of urgency when things are going well, that's one we still have to learn. I think there are a couple of players that might be on the verge of doing it, but we're not there yet, and that's what showed in the Clemson match.
North Carolina is coming up again this Friday. After taking the ranked Tar Heels to 5 sets last time, how do you feel going into that match and the road trip as a whole?
Yeah, well, we won't have the element of surprise this time. I don't think Carolina, I think we took them a bit by surprise last time coming down. We were down 2-0 and came back to win the next 2 sets. And then the 5th set, I think we ended up with 3 match points before losing 21-19. It was a great match, but one of the things about volleyball is, just within a match, the score resets to 0-0, right? You have a halftime at the end of the second set. It's not like a halftime in basketball where, if you've got a 5-point lead going into halftime, you still have a 5-point lead coming out of halftime. That's not true in volleyball. Every set resets back to 0-0 again. And that same principle is true for every match, that everyone is a different story that plays out in different ways. The only thing that's the same that's going to be the same in the match that we played down at UNC is going to be that we're playing UNC. The 2 teams entering the gym are the same teams. Other than that, it's going to play out in different ways. Different people will have good nights. Different things will work well. Different things won't work well. And so we have to it's continuing to approach those matches with a state of mind of working as hard as you possibly can all the time, and then having the presence of mind to make the appropriate adjustments. And that's where we can help on the bench, is giving advice on what those adjustments would be.